What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Tonight I wanted to talk about Chicago Coins 1961 Pro Basketball. Pro Basketball is a single-player EM arcade game. Your object is to sink baskets. And this is a mannikin arcade game. There's a mannikin for the offense and a mannikin for the defense. The defender moves back and forth, and at various points during his rotation, semi-rotation, he will raise his arms up in the air to block you. And you take the role of the offense. You're standing in a spot where you can make baskets relatively easily. You're straight in front of the basket. But with the defender moving back and forth, you can easily miss. The other issue is that the balls are not very weighty. They weigh more than a ping pong ball, but they weigh less than, say, a pinball. And so, depending on various factors, the ball may fly true or it may bounce off the rim. All kinds of things may happen. So, how does it work? Well, you put in your money, the defender starts moving back and forth, and the lifter motor will lift one of the balls up into the offense mannequin's hands. So he will be turned to the side, and then this tube that looks like it came off of a ship is actually the cover for the lifter. And the ball rises through that tube and lands in the mannequin's hands. Now at this point, you as the player will watch as the mannequin twists back to face the basket. And when you're ready to shoot, you squeeze a trigger on the front of the cab. Now there's an element of timing to squeezing that trigger too. So it's not as simple as, say, squeeze the trigger every time that you're facing forward and you will sink a basket. As I mentioned before, there are various factors, including mechanical, that can prevent you from sinking every single basket. But aside from that, there is a point value which rotates from 1 to 5 and 5 to 1 over time. So as you're facing forward towards the basket, you'll see this flash go in the background. So you have to time your shots to both avoid the defender and to earn the greatest number of points. You only get 15 shots for your dime. The game is divided into two halves. For the first half, the point values will alternate between awarding exactly as shown and double. So one shot's going to award you the amount of points displayed, and then your next shot is going to be double the value that's displayed. But for the second half, the point values are doubled. And so it's to your great advantage on the second half, especially, to make sure you get all 4s and 5s. Now again, it goes from 1 to 5 and 5 to 1, but what I mean by that is there's a continuous row of numbers that counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back down 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it goes from right to left. So if you can envision this as a single strip of numbers, maybe it'll make a little more sense. Now after you finish shooting the last basket, the game will show game over in the background, and the motors will come to a stop, the defender will slow, and then stop moving until the next dime or the next start button press happens. So let's talk about artwork. This game is in a very unique cab. It's got an awning, basically, that comes out over the top, and then the mannequins are enclosed behind a plexiglass cage made up of 3 different windows. That awning has screened artwork, which says Chicago Coins Pro Basketball. And on the left and right side of the cab, The main stencil are two people. One is shooting a basket and another is blocking it. The blocker is up in the air and the person shooting the basket is way down low, and apparently the ball has some kind of anti-gravity pull that's dragging it up towards the blocker's hand. Or perhaps the situation is actually reversed. The front of the cab has a basketball stencil right in the center of the coin door, and then 4 smaller basketball stencils at each of the 4 corners of the front of the game. You have the Formica surface, which has the trigger handle, and then inside the little diorama, you've got a game of skill as a marquee up near the top. On the inside now, on the outside, the marquee was Chicago Coins Pro Basketball. Underneath that, you've got the scoreboard. So you've got baskets on the left, your total score in the center, and shots on the right. Down below that, you have the actual basket. And on the left-hand side, there's a lamp for single scoring. And in between this and the lamp on the right side, which says double scoring, you have that strip of numbers I was talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Below that, you have stylized basketballs. The left-hand one will illuminate and say first half. The right-hand one will illuminate and say second half. And below that, there's a little glass that shows 3 basketball players standing around in the background, kind of watching this game that's happening. Cool artwork, pretty neat. Very interesting game. It's worth noting that Genko made other versions of Pro Basketball, including one that Chicago Coin themselves made in 1947. That one was called Basketball Champ, and it had a very similar setup with the mannequin that moved back and forth defending, and then the offensive mannequin with the trigger. Very cool game. I'm going to get the chance to play one of these here in the coming weeks, and I'm looking forward to that. And that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.